What is up, everyone? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfell, and welcome back to the latest Lord of the Rings Online class guide. And today it is all about the Guardian. This is one of my favorite classes in the game. Not the ultimate favorite, but one of my favorite. There's a lot of things you can do with the Guardian these days, and while they initially started off as only a tank, you can play them in a wide variety of situations in 2023. The class has come a long way since the early days when the game first launched. That being said, there are some things you need to know about the Guardian before you dive in, and that's what we're going to be talking about today in the Ultimate Guardian Guide for those of you who might be new to the Lord of the Rings Online. Now, if you've never watched one of my videos before, this is the part where I get to say, hey, if you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. And for those of you who have stuck around before, you know the drill. Support if you can. Memberships, super chats, super thanks, the Patreon page, there's a Discord down below. All are great ways to interact with the community and stay involved with everything we've got going on and support myself, Chris, our cats, the homestead, and everything else we got going on. And don't forget to check out all the other playlists that we have on your YouTube. We do a lot more than just Lord of the Rings Online. There's tabletop, film reviews, TV reviews, book reviews, MMORPGs, RPGs, console games, and more. So I figured it was apt to start off in one of the best locations in the game, which is just outside of Lothlorien here. And I'm here with Aladdin and Elrohir, the two sons of Elrond, to discuss what is a Guardian. Well, a Guardian is primarily a tank. You'll notice that I am wearing heavy armor. I have a big old shield, I got a sword, I got a bow, and I look rather warrior-like. Now, primarily being a tank is what this class started off as. A defensive warrior who's all about the taunts, and who's all about being on the front lines and protecting his group from danger and being that shield for everyone else. That's how the class originally started off, and back in the day when this class originally started, it didn't have a lot of DPS. It was only focused on being that defensive warrior. But these days you could do a lot of different things with the trait trees, which we'll be diving into here a little bit later in the video. So here's the thing you need to know. They are still the best tank in the game, in my mind. Some people might disagree. Some people will say, oh no, the Warden's a better tank in certain situations, or the Captain is a better tank in certain situations. In perhaps certain situations, but when you look at the overall best tank in the game, it is still going to be the Guardian, hands down, because they have all the threat management, all of that heavy armor, the shields, the block, the mitigation, everything you need to be in the front lines and just soak up damage. There is no better tank than the Guardian. That being said, it is also a gear-dependent class if you are going to be worried about end-game dungeons and end-game raiding. If you're only going to be doing the book quests and the solo content, and maybe some, even up to the regular fellowship content, you'll be fine just using quest armor, perhaps some crafted gear, and whatever you're getting from the rewards for doing the quests and missions and everything else. You'll be fine. That is, in essence, what the Guardian is. It is a frontline warrior meant to be out there while the rest of your group can either be your DPS or your heals or your crowd control. Frontlines. That's what it's all about. Now, the next most important aspect of the Guardian is going to be the trait trees, and this is the same for every other class in the game. While you can play these characters in a wide variety of ways, no matter what class you're playing, a lot of it comes down to the traits and which spec you're choosing. As with all of the other guides we've done, there's a blue line, a red line, and a yellow line, and we're going to walk through each one of these, talk a little bit about each one and which one I think is the best one, depending on the situation that you're going to be doing. So there's basically two that you need to worry about, which is the Defender of the Free, which is the blue line, And then this uses mitigation and defense to protect allies. This would be your traditional tank spec. It even tells you here, this is the true tanking build using both AoE and single target taunts. The primary focus is on protection and survival. So you're going to get shield taunt, litany of defense, and your shield skills have a 25% chance to apply a fortification effect that will increase your mitigations by 1%, which can stack up to 5 times. And then you can look down here through the passives. You get Guardian's defense, adaptability, shield wall, challenge the darkness, strengthening the bulwark, bolstering blocks, and shield the people. So if you are going to be primarily playing in a fellowship and you have a static group of players that you're going to be playing with when you log in and play, you're probably going to want to go the Defender of the Free, which is that blue line. Now, for leveling, especially if you're going to be leveling by yourself or even with, 2-3 other people, I would highly recommend the red line. That's actually what I have my Guardian spec'd at, is the red line. The red line is the DPS version of the Guardian, which means you get all of the heavy armor bonuses and benefits of being a heavy tank, plus the shield and everything else, but you also get a bunch of bleeds and everything else. So you get Force Opening, which opens a parry response, and Overwhelm, which increases deep wounds and terrible wounds. And then you've got these passives: Valorous Strength, Reactive Parry, Protection by the Sword, Bleed Them Dry, Brutal Charge, Heavy Blows, and Prey on the Weak. One of the reasons I like the red line so much is because it gives you the ability to just walk into the middle of a group of mobs and just waylay everything around you. I mean, you can take on 8-10 mobs at a time, barely even feel the effects, and just AoE everything down. And because you're wearing heavy armor, it's really hard for them to do anything to you. So for me, I love the red line. That's my primary stance with this particular character. Now, the yellow line is the one where I personally don't have a lot of experience. It's called the Fighter of Shadow, and it says it uses light damage and two-handed tanking in combat. It excels at debuffing enemies, gaining survivability by making their enemies weaker. Guardians in this stance may tank with a two-handed weapon to inflict higher damage. You do get a Force Opening like you do with the Keen Blade. You also get Take to Heart, which marks your target. And then it says your attacks against your marked target have a 50% chance to restore 5% of your max morale no more than once every 5 seconds. So you get a little bit of self-heal as you're using this line. And then you get Light Touched, which it looks like it also has a healing modifier associated with it. And Disabling Strikes, which is kind of cool. Protection, which is for one of your allies. Flash of Light. Mark of Permanence. Manifested Ire. And Incapacitation. Now, I don't know that I've ever talked to anyone or even met anyone who actually runs the yellow line. So if you are somebody out there who actually plays the yellow line for your Guardian, I would love to hear from you. So please drop that down in the comments below and let me know. Because pretty much everybody I know either runs blue line to be a tank, or they run red line if they're going to be soloing or focusing on small fellowship encounters with just a couple of their friends because of the DPS component. I'd love to know more about the Fighter of the Shadow. So in terms of my guide, I've never heard anyone using this. For me, it's kind of a pointless build because there are better DPS tanks out there like the Champion, and better debuffers like the Rogue or the Lore Master as examples. So for me, we're going to switch back over to my stance, which is the Keen Blade. I have the red line mostly maxed out here, and that's how I choose to play. Now, there's also, I forgot to talk about this really quickly, in terms of your racial traits. I just have Return to Breeze slotted right now. Man of the Fourth Age, which gives me a will bonus, Tactics and Might bonus, Balance of Man, which gives me the evade, parry, and block. This is probably the most important one to have for the man. And then the sword bonus damage, which is really useful. I have not yet earned Virtuous Man or Strength of Morale yet. I really need to learn Strength of Morale. I just haven't taken the time to go earn the deed for that one yet. So, and then in terms of virtue traits, oh, it looks like I'm missing one for some reason. Why is that? Huh. Wonder why it wasn't slotted. Anyway, I run Charity, Fidelity, Fortitude, Justice, and Honor. But as always, the virtue traits really aren't that important. It adds a little bit of extra stuff. I like to run for max hit points and mitigation, critical defense and stuff. But you can choose whatever you want here to kind of spice up your character a little bit more. Now, no guide would be complete without showing you guys a little bit of combat, a little bit of the Guardian in action. So we're going to run in here, take a peek. There should be some wargs and stuff in here. Let's go gather them up here. So I'll show you what I mean here. We'll gather up some mobs here. Do some AoEs. Get rid of the stun here. So really, no challenge whatsoever, just wading into the middle of that and saying, yeah, whatever. We got this covered. I love it. It's one of the reasons I just think the Guardian is such a powerful class these days. Now, some people will argue that, you know, it's not really a DPS. It's not a DPS class. It is still a tank. But in terms of leveling, it really does help to just have a build that allows you to wade in and just wreck things as much as you can. That's one of the reasons. And you'll notice you still do quite a bit of DPS, even though I'm quote-unquote just a Guardian. And I love the animations, personally. I think that this class has some of the best animations when you get into, like, well, these die really quick. So let's see if we can get a response here, because I want to get a party response to show you guys the here, I should be able to get this off. Boom! I love that effect when he just chucks forward with his shield. It's so cool. And then upper swing with the sword. It's so tasty. The other thing I really love about the Guardian in terms of combat is I think they have some of the best animations overall for up close combat. I mean, some people will say the champion as well, but I think this just looks really good. And also because of the way he's got the heavy armor with the shield and everything else, it just feels really, really good. But let's go find some orcs. Let's actually get some orcs to fight against as opposed to just birds. Because, you know, birds are okay, but we need to fight some orcs. Ah, here we go. This will be a little bit better. Let's grab some of these ward keepers and the like. Howdy, boys. Let's see if I can survive this. Those bleeds can get pretty dangerous really quick, so we do have to be careful. Pop our defensives. Get rid of the bleeds. Alright. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of combat initiative here to show you what the Guardian is like, taking on multiple mobs at a time. They're quite survivable. You do obviously need to pop your abilities, but I feel like they are one of the best characters in terms of taking on lots of mobs at a time, because even though you can do lots of AoE damage with the champion, as an example, the champion does not have the survivability of the guardian. Now, you can spec your champion in such a way that you can get health back when you're playing and fighting, but it's never going to have the sheer hit point and block values and mitigation values that the guardian has. So just, food for thought when you're looking at, what type of tank you might want to play. At the end of the day, I think the guardian out survives pretty much everything else, and you really don't ever need a healer unless you're just going to go out there and pull every mob under the sun. So food for thought. In any case, that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of my Guardian guide for Lord of the Rings Online. Hopefully you enjoyed. They're an easy class to play. I often have people ask me what is the best class I should play for the first time, like what's the best beginner class. I will usually point people to the Guardian because of the survivability. You really don't have to worry about anything. You just can walk into most situations, and as long as you're not over pulling or going crazy or pulling trains, you'll pretty much guarantee that you'll survive without needing to actually do anything. And that is a great boon to new players. Like, for example, my wife has never really played MMOs, and the first time she played Lord of the Rings Online, she tried a hunter, and she enjoyed it a lot, but she kept dying all the time, which is one of the reasons I ended up rolling a guardian to roll with her. That way I could just be the front man. And then she switched over to try a guardian and was like, oh wow, this is night and day because I don't have to worry about dying anymore. And that's the big difference between a glass cannon as opposed to the tank. And Guardians just look really good. I mean, look at that armor set. Like, I love the way he looks, and there's something about the way human Guardians in particular wear the armor. Dwarves look really cool too. But being able to wear heavy armor just allows you to really look like a tank. And it just looks like I'm a soldier from Minas Tirith, especially with the cloak of the tower and everything else. Just tasty, tasty. So hopefully you like this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can continue to get more as I do more Lord of the Rings Online guides, Star Wars: Old Republic guides, guides for other games, MMORPGs, RPGs, console games, tabletop games, and beyond. Don't forget the book reviews, TV shows, film reviews, and everything else that we do here on the channel. And of course, please support if you can, because I get to do this blessedly because of the support of our community. So you can do super chats on these premieres and live streams after the video is completed, its premiere, and it's uploaded. You can do super thanks. You can also do super thanks on YouTube Shorts. There's pre-programmed amounts that YouTube has down below by clicking those buttons, or you can choose to put in whatever you want. $50, $22, $2.73. You can also join as a member. There's 3 different tiers starting at $3 a month. Plus, we have a Patreon page where you can get a copy of our fantasy book series, tabletop game, and our point-and-click adventure game, which I'm working on with my wife and my brother. So check all that stuff out. Join our Discord if you'd like to come hang out with us from time to time. Game with us when we play. Otherwise, stay safe, everyone. Have fun in Middle-earth. We'll see you in the next episode.